Jeffrey Epstein skated away from a similar investigation here in Palm Beach County 10 years ago with only minor state charges. Tonight, he faces underage sex trafficking and conspiracy charges that could put him behind bars for 45 years. And already, new victims are coming forward. 66-year-old Epstein appeared in federal court in Manhattan wearing a blue jail uniform. Prosecutors accuse Epstein of creating and maintaining a network that allowed him to sexually exploit and abuse dozens of underage girls from 2002 to 2005, both in New York and in Palm Beach. Prosecutors say they found a trove of nude photographs of what appeared to be underage girls while executing a search warrant at his Manhattan mansion following his arrest Saturday.
The victims, all underage girls at the time of the alleged conduct, were given hundreds of dollars in cash after each encounter, either by Epstein or by one of Epstein's employees. The underage girls were initially recruited to provide Epstein with massages and often did so nude or partially nude. These massages became increasingly sexual in nature and would typically include one or more sex acts as specified in the indictment. As alleged, Epstein also paid certain victims to recruit additional girls to be similarly abused.
Some of those victims first came forward to Palm Beach police, who prepared a case they thought would put Epstein away for life, but instead was bargained down by his high-powered lawyers with the cooperation of Miami federal prosecutors. One of those victims, who was just 16 at the time, says Epstein assaulted her. She says that this is a day she's been waiting for.
The first moment of finding out that Jeffrey Epstein was put in jail was so relieving to me. I felt safer. I've waited for this one day just to happen, and it's finally come.
Epstein has pleaded not guilty. He will remain behind bars until his next hearing Monday. Prosecutors say he's a significant flight risk, having 3 active U.S. passports and his own private jet. His lawyers are arguing the matter was settled here in Florida more than a decade ago, but that deal doesn't prohibit federal prosecutors in New York from bringing their own charges. For more on Epstein's history here in Palm Beach County, we go to anchor Todd McDermott. Todd?
Terry, thank you. Jeffrey Epstein rose to prominence as a hedge fund manager, then became notorious for those alleged crimes at his Palm Beach mansion and for the shockingly lenient sentence he got. He has personal ties with President Donald Trump, former President Bill Clinton, and Great Britain's Prince Andrew, as well as other residents of Palm Beach, as you might imagine. From 1973 to 1975, he taught calculus and physics. In 1976, he started working at Bear Stearns as an investment banker, advising clients on tax strategy. And by the 80s, he started J. Epstein & Company, later called Financial Trust Company. As his own wealth grew tremendously, Epstein bought his own island in the U.S. Virgin Islands, multiple properties in Manhattan, as well as homes in Paris, New Mexico, and of course here on Palm Beach. Some of those properties are where he's accused of sex trafficking those minors. As you heard, those crimes allegedly took place between 2002 and 2005. Again, Epstein is accused of paying the girls in cash and getting those underage victims and others to send other victims his way. But he was allowed to plead guilty to state, not federal, charges of soliciting a minor for prostitution. He served 13 months in jail. And a judge recently ruled prosecutors violated the victim's rights by reaching that deal in secret. Former U.S. Attorney for Miami-Dade, Alex Acosta, who is now President Trump's labor secretary, engineered and offered Epstein that secret deal. A Miami Herald investigation found Acosta offered Epstein the deal reportedly for information, not testimony, in a hedge fund case. Those 13 months were served in a private wing of the Palm Beach County Jail. Epstein was allowed to leave to work at his office 6 days a week for 12 hours a day and only really had to sleep in that private jail wing. As for the lawyer's claim, the case here was settled. The allegations in New York focus on child sex trafficking and manufacture of child pornography now, crimes with no statute of limitations. Tiffany?